Every day, your heart beats about 100,000 times, pumping over 5 liters of blood every single minute. That massive workload is driven by strict biological deadlines. Every single cell in your body requires a constant supply of fuel and immediate removal of waste. Without that continuous service, those cells will begin to die within minutes. This diagram shows the 4-chambered muscular pump that handles this entire operation. Blood that needs oxygen enters the right side and gets pushed out to the lungs. Once it's loaded with fresh oxygen, it returns to the left side to be launched out to the rest of the body. Looking at this continuous loop, you can see that the heart doesn't squeeze all your blood out in one massive thrust. The upper and lower chambers contract in a staggered rhythm, maintaining a perfectly timed, continuous circuit. It operates as a relentless, precisely calibrated logistics network. Second by second, it ensures billions of cells have exactly the resources they need to survive. Let's follow that oxygen-poor blue blood as it arrives at the lungs looking for fresh cargo. This microscopic view shows an alveolus, or air sac, interfacing with a blood vessel. As oxygen particles cross over, they bind to hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is a specialized protein in red blood cells that grabs oxygen molecules. When binding happens, the cells physically change color from dull blue to bright red. This photo of a woman practicing pranayama, a traditional practice of focused breath control, illustrates the physical intake of air. We call this breathing, but it is strictly a mechanical action. Pulling air into the lungs is different from the chemical process of true respiration. Whether an organism uses human lungs, a fish's gills, or an earthworm's moist skin, the mechanical goal is identical. These organs are simply filtering and trapping dissolved oxygen from the outside environment. Breathing is merely the loading dock for raw materials. The actual vital work of utilizing that oxygen happens much deeper inside us. Oxygen is only half the formula. The circulatory network must also travel to the digestive system to pick up physical fuel from the food we eat. This animation highlights a cross-section of the stomach wall. The stomach uses highly corrosive acid to break food down, but it doesn't digest itself. A thick layer of specialized mucus constantly coats the inner lining, acting as a physical barrier against the acid. Once the food is broken down into a semi-liquid mass, it moves into the small intestine, where nutrients are finally absorbed into the bloodstream. But this raw, nutrient-heavy mixture cannot go directly to the heart. In this vascular map, you can see the blood taking a detour through the portal vein. The portal vein is a major blood vessel that carries nutrient-rich blood straight from the intestines to the liver. The liver filters out toxins and processes the raw nutrients before allowing the blood to join the main upward circulation. The digestive system carefully extracts, filters, and prepares your fuel. Only after it passes inspection is it released into the main bloodstream. This microscopic animation shows what happens when that prepared blood finally reaches its destination. Red blood cells squeeze through a capillary membrane, releasing glowing oxygen and glucose particles directly into an adjacent muscle cell. This exact moment is cellular respiration. It is the chemical reaction where oxygen and glucose combine to create ATP. ATP is the primary energy-carrying molecule that powers all cellular activities in your body. Creating that energy leaves behind chemical byproducts. To keep the cell functioning, the body has to remove that waste, which requires 2 distinct disposal methods, egestion and excretion. This split screen shows the difference. On the left is egestion, the physical removal of undigested solid matter through the rectum. On the right is excretion, dealing with metabolic waste generated by cells filtered from the bloodstream by the kidneys. Generating energy is a messy chemical process. A healthy body relies just as heavily on efficiently clearing out this cellular garbage as it does on delivering fresh fuel. This tracking shot of a child sprinting shows the system under sudden stress. That intense physical exertion requires an immediate, massive burst of muscular energy. Movement requires more ATP. Generating more ATP demands more oxygen. To meet that demand, the heart immediately accelerates the delivery circuit, pumping blood faster to replenish the muscle cells. You can see the fragility of this demand loop in conditions like asthma. When airways physically restrict, less oxygen enters the blood. Without that oxygen, cellular respiration slows down. And the direct biological result is profound physical exhaustion. This applies to everyday environments too. Sitting in a poorly ventilated classroom causes a gradual drop in your blood oxygen levels. With brain cells receiving less oxygen to convert into energy, you experience brain fog and fatigue. The circulatory system acts as a perfectly balanced, dynamic loop. It physically connects the external air we breathe and the food we eat to the internal chemical energy that drives every single action we take.